Welcome back to Voices of the Ancestors with me, Holly Taylor-Zuntz.
But not me, Susan Thompson. For in part 2, with our guest, Tutarchela founder and conductor Tamar Buadze, Holly and translator Zoé Perret were on their own. It was agonising, waiting to hear how the second part of the interview went. I got to experience what it's like for all of you when you're waiting for a new episode. And Holly didn't help. I was back in England. I got this very excited voice note telling me all about it, how it was full of surprises and so much singing and how I would have loved it. Well, thanks, of course I would. And so I'm sure would all of you. So thanks for waiting and enjoy the episode.
So, Tamar, how did your grandmother's voice sound?
My grandma lost one of her grandchildren, and she was telling me that one of the ways she could get emotionally out of this situation was that she kept singing. So she was actually always singing. She would sing constantly, and when I was with her during summer, I would always listen to her voice. At that time, I was already studying music at school. So while listening to her, in the beginning, I would tell her like, "Come on, grandma, you don't sing right." So I would always tell her, "Come on, your sound should be more stable. Now the pitch is going down, and this is not right, etc." And this is because this is the way I was taught at school. But of course, my grandma didn't listen to what I was saying, and she was still singing. And then, when I started to study at the conservatory, and when I went to chair of ethnomusicology with Edi Sharon Karapanidze, they were talking about. They were telling us about how rich it is, the sound of the natural sound that people can have, and what is and how it is to sound naturally. And at that point, I actually understood that my grandma was a typical example of this, and she actually left to me a real treasure.
მუსიკოსი, ასე ვთქვათ, ჯერ მე ჩამოყალიბდი როგორც მუსიკოსი და შემდეგ გავიცანი ზოგადად.
So I understood very well what meant authentic singing, and it's kind of I could feel that this is inside me, but at the same time I didn't want to. With my choir, I didn't want to just copy the singing style of other people. Should it be grandmothers or maybe some old recordings? So I wanted to take the possibilities of my choir, like the voices of my choir, and to work on that with the voices that we naturally had without copying someone.
Nani, nani, ha, nani, ha, edo, ha, nani. Wanna tell it,
მქონდა რამოდენიმეჯერ შემთხვევა, რომ პროფესიონალი ასე თქვათ
So I actually received a few comments, remarks about my singing style from ethnomusicologists that would say, okay, Tamar, actually you are a choir director and you don't have an authentic and folk singing style. Your singing style is more academic, so you should not sing folk songs. So one day I get a little bit upset about that, and I said, okay, you want what you call authentic singing, so let me sing how my grandma would sing. So I started to sing the way my grandma would sing.
და მაშინ თქვა რომ აი ეს ძალიან კარგია, ეს უნდა მოვასმენინოთ ჩვენ, აი ეს არის ნამდვილი.
And they would be like, oh, you see, actually you can do it, and this is exactly what we would like to hear from you, and we definitely need to make other people listen to this voice that you actually have. So of course I could always sing that way, and this kind of singing is very beautiful, especially for Megrelian songs, because my grandma was Megrelian. But let's say it was not me.
და კიდევ ძალიან მინდა აღნიშნო ბაბუა, ჩემის მამა.
I also would like to mention my grandfather, who used to fight during the Second World War. And I remember when I was a child how he would always make me listen to different types of music, of world music.
So
it would be folk music from different countries of the world. So I was wondering actually at one point, why am I so interested in why do I love so much listening to folk music from different countries? Should it be Balkan or African, Scandinavian, or even Asian? So actually a short time ago I just realized, because while during a conversation with my mother, she was like, do you remember how your grandfather was making you listen to these songs from around the world? And so and then I realized, yeah, this is why I actually love this song, this music, and this is because of my grandfather. So this world folk music, for me, it's so important that I started to teach it to Tutarchela young choir when we started 10 years ago, and now I think that these people who are now adults, they like the same way. Now it's kind of it's already inside them, and I'm sure they will always be interested in discovering different world folk songs.
ნაკლებად რომ საქართველოში ერთადერთი აფრიკული ალბათ რომ აფრიკულ სიმღერა ყველას უყვარს, ალბათ ისეთი ენერგეტიკა აქვს და ალბათ ეფექტიც ისეთი აქვს და
because apart from that, in general in Georgia it's very rare that you can listen to this type of music, apart maybe from African music that everyone loves because it's so energetic and stuff, but in general it's very rare to hear this like folk music from other countries.
Is it possible to hear an example of the same song sung as Tamar and sung as Tamar's grandmother?
Oh.
No, it's აი ასე ჩონგური მასწავლებელია სამღერი ძალიან კარგად.
Whatever.
se chon gur koft kua Skandochki magatire vada O nana dida voi nana dida voi nanina Oh, nana, ida voi nana, ida voi nanina. Ახლობით კიდე შეიძლება უფრო სხვანაირად.
Nice. და ეხლა შენებურად როგორ ეხლა შენ თქვა შენ გუნდთან რაღაცა რო იყოს სოლისტი
მაგას მე დაახლოებით ესე ვიყერი მაინც უბრალოდ თუ ჩამიჯდა პირველი ხმა ესე
Now if I have to sing this song I would actually sing more or less like that but then I should have a top voice with me that is actually able to follow me on this type of intonation which is very rare actually my son is one of them.
Vai nana started გადავხოთ. O nana ida voi nana ხვესია. O nana ida voi nana ida voi ბოლოში მაინც იქ მოვიდოდა რა. საერთოდ სხვა რაღაცა იყო.
Basically she would change as you can see the scale very much but in the end she would always go back to that note of reference to that first degree so yeah even though it was completely different in terms of scale that was song.
ხა კიდე რაღაცნაირად ასე თქვათ ჯერ არა ვარ ამ იმაში თუ რომ შეიძლება და კიდე უფრო მეტად გადმომიცა. აი მე სხვათა შორის ეს განწყობა გამოვიყენე ვარადოში მე. ჩვენ რო ვიმღერეთ ვარადო იმაში. იქ გამოვიყენე ეს განწყობა უკვე რაც მქონდა ესტონები. ახალგაზრდულ გუნდში რო ვიმღერეთ ვარადო.
When I taught my choir the song Varado, I actually used this style of singing in this song. You can listen to it.
Can we sing Varado together?
So now the door creaks open and in walks our friend Ninutsa. She's been singing with Tamar since she was a little girl in Tutarchela.
Could you just introduce yourself, like say your name and how you were know Tamar?
So I'm Ninutsa. Tamar took me in Tutarchela when I was 6. I didn't like singing so much that time and I hated coming to musical school but when I met Tamar it was a whole different story. The first rehearsal was us dancing in a circle and singing Gil Velo and it's like this looks interesting and fun.
ესე იგი მოიყვანეს და რაღაცა ისეთი ნაზი, ისეთი რაღაცა ვოკალურად ამღერებდნენ და
Actually I remember the first time when Ninutsa came to my choir. She came and she was so shy like compared to the children that I had at that time that were like very energetic and you know like completely free and kind of wild but this child was like so girly for herself like and she
შევხედე თუ გაკვეთილში და ეს მეგონი ამაზე უარესია
and she was singing at the time in a manner that sounded so classical like lyrical because before she was differently and they would make her sing in a very high pitch like so I was like oh my god I have to make this child alive. Like she has to. Probably she will learn something in this choir. And actually, I just it only took like a couple of rehearsals, and then I realized, wow, this child is actually even worse than the others. She's so energetic, and she's completely changed. She was very cute. And then soon we had this, I think it was Christmas show or something, so I decided to give her a role, and that was already the beginning when we could see like really lively Ninuța. So I could literally see her completely open up, and when I could see that, it was for me really a big source of motivation. All this gave me actually the power and the will to continue in the sense that we should all work on the huge potential that these children have.
ისედაც აი რეპერტუარიც იყო იმ პიროვნებებზე იყო ის აგებული. ის პიროვნებები ქმნიდნენ იმ იგივე ნინუცა, მარიტა, ვინც იყვნენ ახლა აქ ჩვენი ბავშვები, ხო?
Ninuța was actually part of the first generation of the young choir of Tutarchela, and when we would do some shows, the roles that they had, actually the energy was coming out of each individual that would play this role. Yeah, now with the new choirs that I have, it's a completely different generation, and sometimes I'm thinking maybe we could repeat what we did before, but this would be completely different because I would actually choose the repertoire depending on these specific individuals that I had.
Yeah, actually, yes. All the appreciation, like taste of music, anything connected to music for me comes from Tamar, really, because like not only about music, but she really raised us up basically, because we spent more time here in music school than in our schools, and every rehearsal was something new and something really interesting, and really like exploration. And she was always exploring everything personally, with like individually with us. Like she would give us solos and work, show us the ways that we could express, not only like musically express ourselves, but like very, very deep what we could offer. She could show this. She really saw something in each of us that we ourselves maybe couldn't see, but she really helped us explore these things, and it was like one of the precious things that happened in my life, I think, and each of Tutarchela, a member of Tutarchela, I think, because we would like sit in her classroom for like 20 hours a day. She would show us like arrangements of the songs, and like we never grew tired, never, ever.
ზოგი პიანინოზე იჯდა, ზოგი
At that time, I think that financially and materially the situation was even more difficult than today. But actually, there was such a huge love, and I remember these children. We were actually rehearsing in a quite small room, but and till today, I don't understand how we could be 25 people, but actually we could fit in this room somehow, and this is because there was such a huge motivation and a will to explore and a big love between. Imagine that actually every week we had 4 rehearsals, and each rehearsal lasted 3 hours.
Wow.
აქ ვიყოთო 5 დღე და 2 დღე სახლში წავიდეთო. ანუ ერთად ვიცხოვროთო. ეს ნინოს სიტყვებია, ისე კარგად მახსოვს, რომ
I remember Ninusa's words actually saying, please teacher, would it be possible to just live together like 5 days a week and then we would just go on the weekend like just for 2 days in our homes? Because it really felt like a real family, like a home here.
When we would live, like mostly we would have rehearsals late in the evening, and like it was around 11 or 10 when we would have to go back home, and we walked in a group, and it was like we could never after rehearsal we had so much energy. we didn't know where to put it. So I think people hate I mean they didn't hate us, but we were very, very noisy in the streets. Like at night they knew that the Tutarchela's rehearsal was over. Because we were like, singing, going home and shouting.
ძალიან მინდა ახლა თუ ახალი შენობა იქნება, ძალიან მინდა რომ ეს ახალგაზრდები ვინც პროფესიად აქცია მუსიკა, რომ იქ მოვიდა.
Now we are actually waiting for a school in Rustavi to be built, and it will be like a new music school, like free music school, let's say, and it would be a dream for me that young people who are already who have gone already through all these steps during their childhood, that they would come and study, and why not also teach other people, because I don't think that you necessarily to be like a so-called professional with such and such diplomas to be able to teach and to conduct nice workshops and to share this energy and knowledge with other people. So that would be really great that we create this space for expression in Rustavi.
Wow, so great to hear about future dreams. Thank you. Can we sing Varado together?
Varado Variramo Varado
The call was like very different.
საერთოდ ამ სიმღერას ჩემი აზრით საქართველოში ძალიან სხვანაირად იაზრებენ. ცოტა სხვანაირი სიმღერაა.
In general, choirs sing it very differently, but I think it should have, because it's quite dramatic, and it should have this other type of soul.
A bit more raw, maybe.
Yeah.
Less polished.
Yes, like not in... It's basically crying. It's quite strong, the lyrics of these songs.
Would you be able to tell the story of this song?
I don't remember exactly, but I'll try. So there were two brothers went for hunting, and one of them like slid the food, and he fell down on a cliff, and he was hanging on a cliff with a hand, and other brother couldn't reach him with a hand. He could just cheer him up for him to find the strength to pull himself up, but he couldn't do it. Like, he tried to come on brother, come on, just like, I don't know, support him, but at the end he said that, okay, if you'll die now, I will go back to your house, take your wife, make her my wife, and your children my children. And like, when other brother heard this, he pulled himself up and killed the brother who tried to save him. So he was just telling these things to save this man, and when he realized what he did, he started crying out the song Varado, and I think it means, what does Varado mean?
So is it coming from the brother, or is it coming from the mother of these boys, this song, do you think?
As I know, it was coming from brother himself. Yeah.
ხო ისე გამწარდა რომ ასე ქვია ჩემი ძმა ჩემს ძოლთან ცხოვრობსო და რაღაც იმწრისგან ამოვიდა მე იქიდან. და მოკლა ძმა ხო?
მეორე ისტორია არის ის რომ, so another story is that the mother, when he kills the brother and he goes home, then his mother makes sense of this, and he tells him, okay, he tried to save you, and then, but it's still him who starts singing, goes back and cries for his brother.
Thank you. Zoé and Didi Matlova Tamar, Matlova Ninutsa, Matlova Zoé. Thank you, everyone. Can I take one picture of you two together?
Thank you for listening to Voices of the Ancestors.
And thank you, Tamar Buadze, for being our guest, with Zoé Perret interpreting and surprise guest Ninutsa Kachiani. Your hosts were Holly Taylor-Zuntz and Susan Thompson. Music was by Tamar Buadze and Tutarchela. To see a transcript of this and all our episodes, visit voicesoftheancestors.co.uk. While you're there, you can support the podcast by clicking Donate. So if you enjoyed this episode, you can help us make more by becoming a patron on Patreon, or buying us a cup of coffee once a month on Ko-fi. And if that's not possible for you, you could just share it with a friend or on social media, rate and review the podcast. You really help us grow. You are our marketing team. So thanks a lot to our community of listeners for keeping this podcast sustainable. See you next time for more stories and songs. Bye for now.